It's helpful if you've had experience, you've done this kind of thing before. I want to know the market, the size of the market. Why is this market worth getting at over here? I want to know your product. That's very important. Now, this is not a product pitch, not a sales pitch. I don't want to know all the ins and outs and the gazintas and gazatas and stuff. I just want to know, what the heck is it? If it's a website, show me a screenshot of your website. If it's a, don't do a live demo. No one ever do a live demo. Do a canned demo or do something that lets me know why people are going to buy whatever it is. Then I want to know, now that I know what you're selling, tell me how you make money on it. For every X you sell, you get Y. You do services of Z. I want to know what the business model is on a sort of per unit basis or for the actual product that you're selling. I want to know who you're selling this thing to in terms of customers, and I want to know if you have any relationships that are going to be special to help you, whether you have a distribution relationship with somebody or you have a producing partner or again, validation. This helps to say you're bigger than just one little thing over here. But then everybody has competition. There's never been something that doesn't have competition. Even if the competition is the old way of doing something, I want to know exactly what your competition is, and then that will help me judge how you fit into the whole operation over here. But then I want to know how you're special. If I know what your competition does, how are you going to prevent your competition from eating your lunch over here? And then all this ties into the financial overview. And you cannot do a VC pitch without giving me your financials. I want to know a year or two back, or as long as you've been in existence. And I want to know 3 or 4 or 5 years forward. 5 is a bit much, probably 4 is rational. And I want to know how that business model that you show me on a product basis is going to translate into a company model. And how many widgets are you going to sell? You're making X amount per widget. I want to know what the driver is. We're going to have 1,000 customers this year and 10,000 next year. And our revenues are going to go this, that, and the other thing. And so that gives me the whole picture for the next several years in which I'm investing. And I want to know how the money you're going to get from me is going to help you get there. You're going to open an offshore plant in China. You're going to spend it all on sales and marketing. You're going to go to Tahiti or whatever out there. But then comes the ask. This is where you tell me how much you actually want to get. You're looking for $5 million at what kind of valuation? $2 million, $100,000. What's the money in so far? Who invested? I hope you invested personally, because I'm following on. If you can't invest in your own thing, why should I invest in it? So I'd like to know if you have friends and family or angel investors in there, or you had more VCs before. What's the capital structure up until this point? And then finally, having done all that, you've now told me the whole thing. So now you're going to bring it back to the conclusion. This is that rocket going up. So hopefully everything has been positive, 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 more positive, and everything you say clicks with me and makes it all make sense. And I'm thinking, this is really, really great. And then you take me back to your logo. Just your logo on the screen. And I look at the logo, okay, well, good. Now I come back to you, nothing else to look at, right? And now you're going to wrap it up and tie it up here. And you're going to give me the final, boom, the final pitch that's going to send me into space. Now, in the process of doing this over here, how do you remember what the sequence is and do is? You've noticed here that I'm not looking at the screen, right? The screen, actually, this room is set up so it's in front of me, so I couldn't even see if I wanted to. So now how do I know what's going on here? Well, I've got a laptop in front of me. But you're looking at me and you're looking at this. What do you think I'm looking at? You think I'm looking at that? No. I'm looking actually at a special version of PowerPoint over here, which shows me the slides ahead, the slides behind, my notes from here, so I can see what's going on. PowerPoint has this built into every copy of PowerPoint that's shipped. If you use Apple's Keynote, it's got an even better version in Keynote. And then there's another program called Ovation you can get from Adobe that they just bought last summer, which actually helps you run with whole timers and lets you figure out what's going on. So here's my wrap-up for the Take You to the Moon, right? David's, usually do a top 10. We don't have time for top 10. So David's top 5 presentation tips. Number 1, always use presenter mode or Ovation or presenter tools, because it lets you know exactly where you're going. It helps you pace yourself. It gives you a timer, so we're going to end on time and the whole bit. Number 4, always use remote control. Have you seen me touch the computer? No, you haven't. Why not? Because I'm using remote control over here. Always use remote control. Number 3, the handouts you give are not your presentation. If you follow my suggestions, you're going to have a very spare, very Zen-like presentation, which is great for conveying who you are and getting people emotionally involved, but it's not really good as a handout. You want to have a handout that gives a lot more information, because the handout has to stand without you over here. Number 3, don't read your speech. Can you imagine, well, you should invest in my company because it's really good? Doesn't work, right? Don't read your speech. And the number 1 presentation tip, never, ever look at the screen. You're making a connection with your audience over here, and you always want to do a one-on-one connection, and the screen should come visually behind you and supplement what you're doing instead of replace you. And that is how to pitch to a VC.